Your next financial breakthrough was delayed on purpose. Someone close to you blocked it in prayer. Archangel Michael has frozen the interference for 45 seconds. Open this now. There was a precise moment, marked not by the ticking of earthly clocks, but by the golden pulse of heaven's time, when your financial breakthrough was destined to touch your life. It was not random. It was written, scheduled, and prepared by the Father himself, wrapped in provision, favor, and divine alignment. The angels stood ready, the scroll of your blessing already unsealed. But in the instant before it could descend into your hands, a shadow rose, not from the depths of a distant enemy, but from a voice close enough to call you by name. Someone you have trusted, perhaps even leaned on, lifted a prayer into the heavens, but it was not for your good. The words were cloaked in care, but laced with resistance. They wrapped their intentions in religious language, but at its core, the request was a plea that your blessing would be slowed, restrained, or redirected. Heaven's clock felt the interference. The delivery of your breakthrough, once racing toward you, was suddenly slowed, its path clouded by contradiction. And then he stepped in. Archangel Michael, warrior of heaven, drew his sword and froze the damage before it could complete its cycle. For exactly 4 to 5 seconds in spiritual time, time that moves differently than what your eyes can see, he created a pause. This was not coincidence. This was divine strategy. These 4 to 5 seconds are not given to everyone. They are not for the casual or the curious. They are a window of mercy for the chosen, for the one heaven has marked to carry this particular mantle of provision forward. Right now, you are inside that window. The pause is active. The choice is before you. This message is not for all, but for the one whose spirit feels an urgent stirring even as these words find them. Something deep within you already knows. The interference came from a place you would not have suspected, a place close enough to wound yet familiar enough to disguise itself. You must remain still. Do not allow distraction to pull you from this moment. Your alignment now determines whether the breakthrough resumes its rightful path or is rerouted forever. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 7744 is now activated. I see him now, Archangel Michael, standing with a brilliance that makes the shadows tremble. His sword, forged in the furnace of heaven's justice, is raised high, gleaming with the fire of the Most High's authority. The air around him is charged, vibrating with the sound of angel wings ready to descend. His gaze is fixed, not on you, but on the interference that dared to rise against what heaven has ordained for you. Every fiber of his being is in defense of the assignment written in your name. Hear me carefully. This is not an image of the distant past or some poetic metaphor. This is now. The battle over your finances, your provision, your release, is active in the unseen realm. And in less than 3 minutes of earthly time, a decision will be sealed in the courts of heaven. The scroll containing the verdict is already unrolling, and the outcome will not be delayed for indecision. Your blessing, yes, the very one you have prayed for, fasted for, wept over, is suspended mid-air, neither fully released nor fully taken away. It hangs in the balance, like a crown hovering just above your head, waiting for one signal to descend. Heaven has not forgotten you. Heaven is not against you. But heaven waits for your agreement, for your yes, for your obedience in this holy pause. Do you feel the weight of this moment? Do you understand the precision of God's timing? The pause Michael has created is not indefinite. It is a countdown. And while heaven is on your side, the adversary is circling, searching for the smallest crack of doubt, hesitation, or disbelief to push the blessing away for good. Silence right now is not neutral. It is costly. Doubt right now is not harmless. It is dangerous. I urge you, line your heart, line your thoughts, line your words with heaven in this moment. Say yes to what God has already said yes to. The angels do not respond to vague wishes. They respond to faith, spoken aloud, rooted in trust. Whisper your agreement in your spirit. Let it rise to your lips, and let it be heard in the heavens. Lord, I agree with what you have spoken over me. Let it be so. This is not a general word to the masses. This is a selective calling. The Spirit has already marked you for increase, and that marking has made you a target. The interference did not come because you are weak. It came because you are powerful in your assignment. The release you are about to walk into will shift not just your bank account, but your territory, your influence, your capacity to fund kingdom works. That is why the opposition rose. That is why the prayer from someone close carried such intentional weight against you. But hear me as heaven's messenger in this moment. Your enemy's interference has been frozen. His prayer against you has been silenced in the Spirit, and your name is echoing in the courts of the Most High. Now, you must respond in kind. You must send your agreement upward like a signal flare in the night. Let your faith speak louder than fear. Let your trust speak louder than confusion. Let your yes drown out every whisper of not yet that has been sent to keep you waiting. Heaven has drawn near. The angelic host is positioned, and Michael himself is holding back the tide of opposition, but not for long. I am speaking to the one whose spirit has been restless without knowing why. You felt it in your chest, the tightness, that pressure, not anxiety, but spiritual proximity. This is it. This is the moment you've been sensing but could not name. Heaven's hourglass is pouring. The grains are falling, and your breakthrough is waiting for your voice to open the floodgates. Lift your agreement now. Heaven is listening. Type "I am ready" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 8822 is now activated. There is a presence in your life, subtle, quiet, and seemingly harmless, that has been closer to your breakthrough than you realize. They have watched you walk, smiled when you smiled, nodded when you spoke of your plans, and perhaps even whispered words of encouragement. Yet somewhere beneath their surface, a different agenda has been moving, unspoken resistance to the fullness of what heaven has prepared for you. You've felt it before but brushed it aside. That sudden coolness in their tone when you shared good news. That strange shift in conversation when you mentioned opportunities. The little harmless advice that always seemed to shrink your vision instead of expanding it. These were not random quirks of personality. These were spiritual threads being woven, bit by bit, to entangle the timing of your provision. And then it happened. They prayed. They prayed about you, but not for you. A prayer wrapped in soft words, but born from envy, insecurity, or fear. Perhaps they told themselves it was for your protection. Perhaps they believed they were helping you wait until the right time. But their request did not align with heaven's timing. It opposed it. And in the spirit realm, words have weight. Their prayer carried enough to slow the movement of your blessing. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That strange heaviness in moments when you should feel joy. The restless nights where your mind keeps circling unfinished conversations. The fleeting thought that someone, somewhere, is watching your progress not with celebration, but with calculation. This is why your spirit hath been unsettled. It hath been picking up interference before your mind could put it into words. But here is the mystery that heaven is unveiling to you now. The interference was not from a distant, obvious enemy. It came from within your circle, close enough to know your dreams, close enough to name them before heaven. This is why it shocked the angels to see such a request rising from a voice familiar to yours. And this is why Archangel Michael intervened, not to destroy, but to pause, to freeze, to give you the clarity and authority to reclaim what was yours from the beginning. You may be tempted now to start searching for who it is. You may feel a surge of suspicion. Resist the urge to hunt for names in your own strength. The goal here is not to point fingers, but to strengthen your discernment. Heaven will reveal what you need to know in time. For now, your task is to recognize that the interference was real, the delay was intentional, and the moment for restoration is still in motion. If you choose agreement with heaven over reaction in the flesh, this tension you feel is not simply emotional, it is spiritual. The unease in your chest, the sudden second-guessing of decisions, the waves of doubt that arrive uninvited, these are aftershocks of a prayer that was never meant to touch heaven's ears. And yet, here is the redemptive truth. Even prayers sent with wrong intent are no match for the divine will when the chosen stand in agreement with it. Right now, the blessing is not lost. It is waiting. Heaven has placed it back on the track toward you. But as the 4 to 5 spiritual seconds tick down, your alignment is the deciding factor. Will you focus? Will you stay still? Will you allow your faith to be the loudest voice in the room? Because if you do, the interference will dissolve, the blessing will accelerate, and the very person who tried to block it will have no choice but to witness its arrival in your life. Type "I receive clarity" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 9933 is now activated. Beloved, if this word has been piercing your spirit and confirming things you couldn't explain, know this. What we do here together is not entertainment, it's kingdom warfare. Every time you help us keep these messages flowing, you are placing seed into the soil of souls who are desperate to hear God's voice in their season of battle. Your support becomes light breaking into someone's darkness, oil poured on someone's dry season, manna falling on their wilderness. The Lord says in Proverbs 11:25, "The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed." As I invite you now, I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for the breakthrough of those we are called to reach. If you feel the Spirit stirring you, you can stand with us through super thanks or by joining our membership right here on YouTube. For those who feel led to sow directly, the link to our PayPal is in the video description. This moment is not just about giving, it's about unlocking the next wave of breakthroughs for those heaven is still pursuing. Step into that blessing now. Child of the Most High, you must see clearly now. This battle is not about personalities. It is not about human disagreements or misunderstandings. This is not a petty quarrel. It is not gossip. This is war, and the battlefield is unseen. Your financial breakthrough is not just currency. It is kingdom capital. It is the resource assigned to fund your divine assignment, to expand your territory, to open doors for others who cannot open them for themselves. When heaven releases provision, it is never just for comfort, it is for commission. And that is why the adversary fights so viciously against it. He knows that in your hands, resources will become rivers. Opportunities will become doors for others. Money will become ministry. He is not afraid of you buying bread. He is afraid of you feeding a generation. He is not afraid of you paying bills. He is afraid of you paying for kingdom exploits that crush his plans. That is why your breakthrough was targeted. That is why the prayer against you carrying weight. It was not simply a prayer about money, it was a prayer to contain your mission, to stop the momentum of your assignment before it could begin to run at full strength. And because this was spiritual, It could only be intercepted spiritually. This is where Archangel Michael stepped in, not with gentle persuasion, but with the authority of heaven's army. His sword struck through the interference, pausing the effect of the words that were spoken against you. In the courts of heaven, time itself was slowed so that you could be given this moment of clarity, to choose alignment, to choose trust, to choose forward motion despite what you have felt. Listen to me. If this was only about you, the enemy would not care so much. But this blessing, this release, this provision, is connected to others. The kingdom is counting on your obedience. That is why the enemy used someone close, because closeness grants access, and access can create influence. But you must not take this as an excuse to operate in suspicion or revenge. Beloved, you must fight as heaven fights, strategically, without wasting a single movement. Do you see now why this matters so much? This is not a small delay. This is a pivotal moment in your life's calling. When financial blessings are aligned with kingdom purposes, they shift nations, they rewrite family histories, they dismantle generational curses. The opposition you face is not proof that you are forsaken. It is proof that you are chosen. Heaven is watching, not to test you in cruelty, but to record your response. Your posture right now will determine if your blessing accelerates like a floodgate opening, or if it is held until you are ready. And readiness is not about perfection. It is about alignment. Can heaven trust you to steward this provision without fear, without hesitation, without shrinking from the magnitude of the call? Remember this: the warfare you are in is not fair, and it was never meant to be. The enemy does not fight fair because he knows you are armed with weapons he cannot defeat. Your agreement with heaven is stronger than his schemes. Your worship is more potent than his curses. Your faith is more enduring than his lies. And right now, as you hear this, the spiritual war is still active, but victory is within arm's reach. Stand still in the Spirit. Let your heart be unshaken. See beyond the person who spoke against you and recognize the spirit that sought to halt you. Name it for what it is: opposition to kingdom progress, and then speak directly to heaven. Father, I agree with your release. Let nothing stand in the way of what you have appointed. You have been chosen for increase. You have been targeted for delay. And now, you are being positioned for acceleration. Heaven's eyes are upon you, and the countdown still moves. The moment to reclaim is now. Type "I will not be moved" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1001 is now activated. Beloved, hear me with the weight of heaven's urgency. This moment you are in is not a pause for reflection only. It is a strategic window for action. The interference that has been frozen will not remain dormant forever. Heaven's pause is mercy, but mercy has an appointed end when the decision in the Spirit is made final. Without movement now, the enemy will attempt to send a second wave, a more calculated, more forceful strike, within 72 hours. I am not speaking of a vague spiritual threat. This is precise. In 72 hours of earthly time, there is a planned attempt in the Spirit to re-establish the block that Michael struck down. And this time, it will come dressed differently. Not through a prayer that feels questionable, but through a word, an action, or an event that feels almost harmless, until its effect begins to choke your momentum. Do not underestimate the enemy's persistence. If his first strike was stopped, he will study the gaps, looking for where doubt still lingers, where fatigue still weakens your resolve. This is why I must warn you now. The battle is not yet over. It is not enough to have the interference frozen. You must secure the victory so that when the freeze lifts, the attack cannot resume. The person whose voice carried the original interference may not even realize the spiritual damage they caused. Yet, whether knowingly or unknowingly, their posture in the spirit allowed a doorway for delay. The second wave may come through them, or it may come through another who is tied to them. That is why heaven's focus is not for you to identify the face, but to recognize the pattern. Look for behaviors, not names. Pay attention to moments where your spirit feels sudden heaviness after conversation, where clarity turns to confusion, where joy turns to weariness for no natural reason. In the unseen realm, the pressure is already building. I see it like a dark cloud gathering on the horizon, not yet breaking, but carrying the intention of a storm. It will attempt to manifest in the natural realm as disruptions, unexpected expenses, broken focus, or sudden shifts in relationships. The goal will be to pull your attention away from the alignment heaven requires right now. This is why you must be sober-minded and vigilant. The 72 hours ahead of you are critical. You cannot afford distraction. You cannot afford spiritual laziness. If you remain aligned, if you stay still before the Lord, if you resist the temptation to react in the flesh, the enemy's second wave will collapse under the weight of heaven's authority. But if you waver, if you open your mouth to agree with fear, if you allow your thoughts to spiral into suspicion, if you give the enemy even a fragment of your faith's focus, he will use that opening to slow you again. Child of God, this is why Archangel Michael is still in position. His sword remains raised, but his gaze is fixed on you. Heaven is watching for your decision, because your agreement will be the command that sends the angels forward to seal the breakthrough permanently. This is not a passive season. This is a defining moment. I tell you again, do not dismiss this as coincidence. The timing is too exact. The warning is too clear. The countdown is too precise. The same way your first breakthrough was scheduled, the enemy's second attack is also timed. You are being given foreknowledge so that you can dismantle it before it even begins. Lift your agreement to heaven now. Let your posture in prayer be unshakable. Refuse to let anyone's words pull you into confusion. Guard your peace like a shield. Keep your eyes fixed on the Lord who is orchestrating your deliverance. The freeze will lift, and when it does, may it release not a renewed attack, but an unstoppable flood of provision into your life. Type "I am alert" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1212 is now activated. Beloved, in this next stretch of time, heaven's counsel for you is clear. Protection will come not through frantic action, but through intentional stillness. The Lord has decreed that in the 72 hours ahead, your greatest weapon will not be your voice in debate or your hands in work. It will be your posture in the Spirit. This is not the moment to explain yourself to people. It is not the moment to announce your plans. It is the moment to draw the curtains, close the doors, and guard the oil that heaven has placed in your vessel. You must understand, silence is not weakness, it is strategy. When you speak prematurely, you give the enemy blueprints for sabotage. When you reveal your next step too soon, you allow unseen forces to position themselves ahead of you. But when you remain silent in the Spirit, heaven fights without interference. Michael and his host move freely, unopposed by the open doors that loose words create. So here is your assignment for the days ahead. Share nothing of your financial plans, investments, or movements with those outside of heaven's prompting. Even those you love, even those you trust, may unknowingly carry doubt or fear in their words. Let this be a time where you speak your plans only to the Father, releasing them in prayer, not in conversation. When you pray, pray with precision. Do not simply ask for blessing. Speak for the sealing of what has already been released in your name. Declare aloud, Lord, I command my blessing to remain in motion. I forbid the enemy's hand from touching what you have appointed for me. I cover my finances, my opportunities, and my relationships under the blood of Jesus. These are not empty words. They are legal decrees in the courts of heaven. Your mind, too, must be guarded. The adversary will attempt to infiltrate not just through others, but through your own thoughts. In moments where anxiety tries to rise, respond immediately with truth. Say, the Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. No weapon formed against me will prosper. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Every declaration you make is like a stone in the sling of David, striking down the giant before it can take another step toward you. I speak protection now over your finances, that no hidden hand will divert them, that no unexpected demand will deplete them, that no opportunity will slip away from you. I speak protection over your relationships, that those assigned to help you will be drawn closer, and those sent to hinder you will be exposed or removed. I speak protection over your mind, that your thoughts will be steady, your discernment sharp, and your heart at peace. In the spirit realm, I see angels encamped around you, not standing far, but positioned close, shoulder to shoulder, forming an unbreakable perimeter. Their swords are drawn. Your eyes are fixed outward. Nothing passes their line unless heaven allows it. But this covering remains strongest when you do not break formation through disobedience. Keep yourself inside the circle of obedience. Do not step out to confront in your own strength. Do not open the gates to suspicion or gossip. Remain where the covering is thickest, inside the presence of the Lord. You are not being told to hide. You are being told to preserve, to protect what hath been entrusted to you until the delivery is complete. This is the wisdom of the Spirit, for blessings that are mishandled and their transfer can be delayed or diminished. But blessings that are guarded with faith arrive in their fullness. Let the stillness speak for you. Let your peace confuse the enemy. Let your worship rise quietly, a fragrance that draws heaven's favor without announcing your next move. The battle is already leaning in your favor. Now your task is to keep it that way. Type I am covered in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 5656 is now activated. Child of God, lift your head. You are not the same person who first encountered this delay. The moment the interference struck, something in you began to shift. Yes, the pause was painful. Yes, the freeze was unsettling. But in that waiting, heaven was forging something inside you that is more valuable than the breakthrough itself: authority. When the enemy targeted you, he thought he was stalling you. He didn't realize he was strengthening you. Like gold refined in the furnace, you have been in the fire of delay, but instead of burning you, it has purified you. The doubt that once whispered in your ear has been silenced. The fear that once gripped your heart has loosened its hold. You now see more clearly, discern more sharply, and walk more strategically. You are no longer merely waiting for a blessing. You are commanding it. This is the difference between who you were and who you are becoming. Before, you were like one looking at a closed door, hoping it might open. And now, you stand like an eagle, wings stretched, ready to soar the moment heaven gives the signal. You have gained stealth, the ability to move quietly, unseen by the enemy until it is too late for him to react. You have gained wisdom, the ability to recognize when a voice is for you and when it is subtly against you. You have gained authority, the ability to decree a thing and see it established because your words are now rooted in the Spirit, not in emotion. Hear me well. The pause was not punishment. It was preparation. Heaven never wastes a delay. Every second of the 4 to 5 spiritual seconds Michael has held back the interference hath been shaping you into the vessel who can carry the weight of this provision without spilling it. You will not squander what is coming. You will not lose it in the noise of distraction. You will not hand it over to those who would diminish it. You are rising now, not as the same person who faced the first wave of opposition, but as a warrior marked by the presence of God. This is your rise, not your retreat. Every setback you have endured hath been turned into a step upward. The place you stand now is higher than where you stood before the delay began. And from this higher place, you will see more territory, more opportunity, more favor than you ever could have seen from below. Do not despise what you walk through. Every shadow you faced has only made you value the light more deeply. Every voice that opposed you has made you cherish the voice of the Lord more fully. Every moment you thought you were forgotten has reminded you that heaven's timing is never late. It is precise. Now, as you step forward, do so with the knowledge that the blessing is not just being restored, it is being multiplied. You have been trained for such a time as this. Your endurance has been proven. Your spirit has been strengthened. And when the release comes, it will come to a vessel ready to pour into others. So rise, beloved. Spread your wings. Take your place as one who have been refined, not reduced. Step into this next season not timidly, but with the full confidence of one who knows they carry heaven's endorsement. For you are no longer merely a recipient of blessing. You are a steward of kingdom wealth and authority. The enemy's greatest miscalculation was thinking the delay would diminish you. Instead, it has elevated you. And now, you are not just prepared for the breakthrough, you are prepared for the responsibility it carries. Type "I rise now" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 4444 is now activated. Beloved, the Spirit would have you know, what felt like a cruel interruption was, in truth, a divinely sanctioned delay. Not sanctioned by the enemy, but by the one who holds the keys to times and seasons. Heaven saw the interference rising before it even touched your atmosphere. Heaven heard the prayer spoken against you before the words left the lips of the one who uttered them. And heaven, in wisdom, allowed a pause, not to rob you, but to refine you. Archangel Michael did not just block an attack. He orchestrated a window of divine revelation. In this pause, the Lord hath been sharpening your discernment so that when the blessing arrives, you will not only receive it, but guard it, protect it, and multiply it. This was never about the delay itself. This was about who you would be when the delay ended. I hear the Spirit say, your blessing is still in motion. The scroll of your provision is still open. The command for release has not been revoked. The path that seemed frozen is not abandoned. It is waiting for the final decree to be spoken from your agreement with heaven. What the enemy meant for harm has become your training ground. You have been learning to see without being told, to hear without being announced, to discern the difference between a friend's voice and a disguised hindrance. And now, heaven trusts you with more than just the breakthrough. You are being trusted with the authority to sustain it. Your financial breakthrough has not been canceled. It has not been rerouted to another. It has been positioned in a higher place, guarded by the very angels who war for your destiny. This is why your spirit has been restless, because your blessing is still hovering, waiting your readiness. And beloved, the time of readiness is now. This is not just the release of money. This is the unlocking of provision on a higher level than you have ever known. It is the kind of release that allows you to break chains for others, to fund assignments you once only dreamed of, to shift not only your household, but the households of those connected to your obedience. The kingdom knows your name. The heavens know your assignment. The angelic armies know their orders. And I must tell you this. Your name is being spoken in places you have not yet walked into. Your assignment is being prepared in rooms you have not yet entered. Your provision is being confirmed in the courts of heaven even as you hear these words. The interference has been neutralized, and now the countdown is to release, not to restriction. But you must act in faith now. You must speak your agreement. You must step as though the release has already arrived, because in the Spirit it has. The manifestation in the natural is only catching up to the reality that already exists in the unseen realm. This is the revelation. Heaven has not delayed you to harm you. It has delayed you to ensure that when the blessing lands, it will never be stolen again. Type "I receive this release" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 7770 is now activated. Beloved, this moment is holy. When you partner with what God is speaking here, you are not simply supporting a channel. You are fueling the very mission of heaven to reach those whose destinies hang in the balance. Every seed you sow through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description becomes part of the river that carries God's word into the homes of those who may not hear it otherwise. The Lord says in 2 Corinthians 9:10, "He who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will supply and multiply your seed for sowing and increase the harvest of your righteousness." When you give, it is more than a donation. It is a prophetic act that aligns you with the release of provision both for yourself and for countless others. I invite you now, if the Spirit is stirring you, to step into this act of agreement. Heaven honors those who sow into the advancement of the kingdom. The soil is ready, the oil is flowing. Step into it now. Beloved, there comes a moment in every divine assignment when heaven stops speaking promises over you and starts requiring your agreement to bring them into the earth. That moment is now. You have heard the warning. You have seen the pause. You have received the revelation. But now, you must step into activation. The angels have been holding the breakthrough, not because they are uncertain, but because heaven is waiting for the sound of your agreement to open the final seal. Do you understand how powerful your words are in this moment? The Lord created the universe by speaking, and in His image, you too have been given the authority to decree and establish. Right now, the Father says, "I have placed life and death before you. Choose life." Choosing life means aligning your speech with the living Word of God. It means rejecting every whisper of doubt, every fear-filled thought, and replacing it with declarations rooted in His truth. I want you to speak with me now, not later, not when you feel ready, but now, as an act of obedience. My breakthrough is in motion. No interference can stop what heaven has approved. I'm a chosen steward of kingdom provision. Every delay is turning into acceleration. The angels of God are delivering my blessing without hindrance. Every time you speak these words, you are sending a legal command into the spirit realm. Your voice becomes the sound that gives Michael and his host the clearance to move. Your agreement becomes the key that unlocks the gates holding your provision. Do not underestimate this moment. Heaven is not casual about timing, and neither should you be. The 4 to 5 spiritual seconds that were given to pause the interference are running their course, but the speed at which your blessing now accelerates depends on the boldness of your agreement. Destiny activation is not a passive thing. It is intentional, deliberate, and sometimes even forceful. The kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. That means you do not sit quietly hoping the release will happen. You rise and claim it. You declare it until the atmosphere shifts. You praise until the heavens open over you. Now is the time to take intentional, faith-based steps. If you have been holding back on launching that business, preparing that proposal, or making that application, do it. If you have been delaying a strategic move because you were waiting for the right time, the Spirit says, the time is now. Every action you take in faith becomes a prophetic sign to the unseen realm that you expect the blessing to manifest. When you act, you draw the reality of the Spirit into the natural. I tell you the truth. Your yes today is not just agreement with a concept. It is a command for angelic movement. The angels do not wait for your feelings. They respond to your faith. When you say yes to heaven's plan, the sound of that yes reverberates in the courts above and in the battlefields below, shifting the tide in your favor. Do not allow hesitation to speak louder than obedience. Do not let the fear of what if it doesn't happen rob you of the joy of what if it does. Heaven has already said yes. The interference has already been frozen. The scroll of your provision is already unrolled. The only missing piece is your voice declaring, your steps moving, your spirit standing in alignment. This is your activation. This is your release. This is your moment to partner with heaven in such a way that the earth itself will have to respond. Rise in your spirit, declare with your mouth, move with your feet. The blessing is waiting for you to claim it. Now claim it boldly. Type "My destiny is activated" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 3030 is now activated. Beloved, while you have been listening to these words in the natural, something has been happening in the unseen that most will never witness with their eyes. I want to take you there, not in imagination, but in revelation. In the courts of heaven, the scene is set. The atmosphere is weighty with purpose. I see angels standing like living pillars, their garments blazing with light, each one holding something that belongs to you. Contracts of opportunity, keys to resources, scrolls of favor, ledgers marked with increase. These are not symbolic. They are the heavenly record of what God has decreed over your life. In front of them stands Archangel Michael, his sword still drawn, the interference bound like smoke trapped in crystal. Before him, a great table stretches, and on it lies the record of every attack that has been launched against you, every whispered word, every wrong prayer, every manipulative action. But beside that record is another scroll, sealed with the mark of the Lamb, containing the original decree of your breakthrough. There is no shouting here, no chaos, only the silent authority of heaven's order. The judge of all the earth sits on his throne, and the atmosphere bends under his presence. The enemy stands to accuse, but his voice is hollow, for the interference has been exposed. Michael speaks, not in the language of men, but in the eternal tongue that commands all creation. His words carry the evidence of your endurance, your agreement, your refusal to let doubt sever the promise. And then, the exchange begins. I see angels stepping forward, taking what the enemy tried to withhold and placing it back into the hands of those appointed to deliver it. I see the record of the wrong prayer dissolve in fire until not a trace remains. I see the decree of your blessing lifted high, stamped again with heaven's approval, and handed to the messenger angels who will carry it into your realm. This exchange is silent because it needs no debate. The moment you aligned your agreement with heaven's will, the case was closed in the spirit. The authority of your yes was the final evidence needed to overturn every obstruction. Now, the angels are in motion, not rushing in panic, but moving with the swiftness of divine precision. Beloved, your spirit felt this before your mind could comprehend it. That sudden wave of peace, that unexplainable lift in your chest, that was the moment the exchange began. Even now, as you hear my voice, there are assignments being handed out in your favor. There are doors being unlocked, names being remembered, signatures being placed where your opportunity requires them. This is why the enemy fought you so hard in the waiting, because he knew that once the exchange took place, his grip would be permanently broken. The blessing is no longer in contention. It is in transfer. The delivery has already been dispatched. The only thing left is for the natural realm to catch up with what has already been secured in the spirit. Do not let impatience rob you in this moment. Trust the process of the transfer. Just as no messenger in heaven misplaces their assignment, no blessing assigned to your name can land in the wrong hands. It is sealed to you by divine authority. Soon, beloved, you will see signs in the natural, a call you were not expecting, an open door you did not knock on, a provision that arrives without explanation. When it comes, you will know it was birthed in this silent exchange. And you will remember that heaven's victories are often won without a sound in the earth, but their impact is felt everywhere once they arrive. Hold your posture. The exchange is complete. The delivery is in motion. Your breakthrough is now closer than your breath. Type "the transfer is mine" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 9090 is now activated. Beloved, now that the silent exchange in the spirit realm has been completed, it is time for you to understand the next phase, justice. Heaven is not content with merely delivering your blessing. Heaven intends to make the enemy regret ever touching it. The principle of divine justice is not return it the way you took it, but return it multiplied, with interest, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. I hear the Spirit say, what was withheld from you will not return in the same measure. It will return overflowing. For every day you waited, I will return a day of accelerated gain. For every opportunity delayed, I will send two in its place. For every hand that tried to close the door, I will cause three to open without them. This is the law of reversal in the kingdom. The same trap the enemy sets becomes the path to your promotion. The same stone rolled in your way becomes the foundation for your next platform. Just as Joseph's prison became the gateway to Pharaoh's palace, so shall your delay become the stage upon which God proves his power. The interference that came through someone close to you will become the very testimony that magnifies God's faithfulness. And when the release manifests, those who doubted, those who resisted, those who tried to contain you, they will not be able to deny the hand of God upon your life. Divine reversal is not subtle, it is dramatic. It is heaven's way of making a public statement. This is my servant, my chosen, my anointed, and I defend what is mine. The enemy's fingerprints will be wiped clean from your blessing, and in its place, the seal of the Most High will be visible for all to see. But reversal is also personal. It doesn't just restore what was taken. It restores your peace, your confidence, your boldness. The anxiety that tried to settle in your heart will be replaced with unshakable joy. The hesitation that once slowed your steps will be replaced with the courage to move without waiting for approval from men. Even the relationships that restrained in this process will experience the touch of heaven's justice. Some will be healed and strengthened, others will be gracefully removed so they can no longer interfere. This is God's mercy, removing hindrances even when your heart might have hesitated to do so. I see financial restoration coming in waves, unexpected deposits, cleared debts, sudden openings for contracts, strategic alignments with people who carry the resources you need. This will not be one moment of blessing. It will be a season of divine overflow. And it will be evident that this is not just luck or good timing, but the manifestation of heaven's justice system working on your behalf. The enemy thought he could delay and weaken you. Instead, he delayed and multiplied your portion. Every prayer against you has been turned into a declaration for you. Every moment of interference has been rewritten as a setup for greater release. Beloved, when divine reversal arrives, it carries a fragrance in the spirit, one that the enemy cannot imitate and the world cannot explain. It is the scent of a battle won by heaven's hand. It is the sound of chains breaking without you having to lift a finger. It is the vision of doors opening without your knocking. And so I declare over you now, that every wrong return to its sender multiplied in the lessons it has taught you, in the boldness it has built in you, and in the blessings it will now bring you. Let the full measure of heaven's justice be poured out until you can only say, "The Lord has done this, and it is marvelous in my eyes." This is your divine reversal. This is your multiplied return. This is the season where the enemy pays interest. Type "Justice is mine" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 8181 is now activated. Beloved, the word of the Lord to you in this moment is simple yet mighty. It is done. The interference has been frozen. The silent exchange in the spirit has been completed, and the decree of divine reversal has already been stamped with heaven's seal. You are no longer standing in a place of uncertainty. You are standing in the threshold of manifestation. The urgency you have felt was not to alarm you, but to prepare you. The 4 to 5 spiritual seconds you were given were heaven's way of saying, "I trust you to align. I trust you to respond. I trust you to rise." And you have. You have stood in faith when doubt tried to whisper. You have chosen stillness when the flesh wanted to react. You have said yes when hesitation would have been easier. Now, I seal this moment in prayer over your life. Father, I declare over your chosen one that every channel of provision assigned to them is now open without hindrance. I speak protection over their finances, their relationships, their mind, and their health. I decree that no second wave of interference will stand, and that the blessing now released will arrive in its fullness, untouched and overflowing. Let angels encamp around them day and night. Let their steps be ordered, their discernment sharpened, and their faith unshakable. And let the testimony of this release draw others into the knowledge that you are a faithful, covenant-keeping God. Beloved, walk now with your head lifted, your spirit strong, and your eyes fixed forward. You are sealed, you are seen, and you are sent. The season ahead is not a waiting season, it is a walking season. Take your first steps into the land that has been prepared for you. It is yours. Type "I am sealed" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 5550 is now activated. Beloved, as we close this message, know that what you have just heard is more than words. It is a prophetic assignment. Each message we release is part of heaven's mission to awaken, equip, and activate the chosen across the earth. When you stand with us, you are not simply supporting a channel. You are fueling the spread of God's word into places where darkness has tried to reign. Every super thanks, every membership, every PayPal gift in the description below becomes like a seed in the hands of the sower, destined to bring harvest in the lives of those who hear. As Philippians 4:17 declares, "Not that I desire your gifts. What I desire is that more be credited to your account." When you give, it is not lost. It is multiplied, both in the kingdom and in your own life. If the Spirit is stirring you to be part of this mission, I invite you to respond now. The work is great, the soil is ready, and the harvest is near. Step into that blessing today.